And that day is slated for today. Of course, the talks at the Bomas of Kenya, and we have Okongo Omogeni, a senior counsel, who will also, who is part of that particular team. And we want also to look at the issue of the UDA and the growing of its constituents. Let's just begin with you with the bipartisan talks today. Okongo Omogeni.
Talks just today. I think the reason much I can say more than what the brief that was given by our two leaders, Kalonzo Musyoka and Governor Mbaridu, was standing in for Ichungwa. We closed the period that we are given to Kenyans to give a memorandum to the team, and we adjourned, not for any other reason, but to allow the technical team to sieve through the memorandum, prepare a report, so that when we meet this morning, we review the issues that Kenyans would have raised before us. And then from there, we will now deliberate on the way forward. So I think the real work should begin this morning. Now that we know what are the issues that we agreed to look at, we also look at the issues that Kenyans have brought before us, and then we deliberate on how to proceed from there.
So time is really...
I think this is the defining moment, if you ask me, for the talks.
The defining moment.
From today,
are you in any way feel that you're pinched for time?
I think that's adequate time. If we ask for more, we are not being very fair to Kenyans.
Bearing the fact that 17, as Grace has just reported, as elapsed.
If we are able to have consensus, have a bipartisan approach to this, we can sit and agree. So I don't think we should start crying that we don't have adequate time. We sought for 60 days, and I think within those 60 days, if both of us are committed to having a discussion that is for posterity, we can make progress.
So with the 142 memorandum, question was being asked, how then do they fall within the 5 pillars of your discussions that you're supposed to, that is predicated on?
Well, will
it just be a waste of time?
That's fairly speculative, because we don't know what issues Kenyans have raised before us. I think the best thing would be, once we meet today, we see the summary of the issues that have been placed before us and how they speak to the 18 chapters of our Constitution. We'll be able to see, whether they fit into the 5 thematic areas that we had identified. Then if there are any issues that are outside the 5 issues that we had flagged, then we see how to address them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just see how it pans out. Nothing much to really talk about until then. We have the meat of it from the meetings. Thereafter, we can follow up tomorrow. But let's buckle down to UDA and this particular drive. What lessons can we learn from the Jubilee Alliance Party?
Yeah.
By then you were in ODM.
Yes, I was in ODM. And of course, in 2013, I supported very strongly the Jubilee Alliance before the Jubilee itself messed up the labor movement and interfered with us. So
Jubilee
I shipped out. Yeah. Now, but what you can learn is that there was a huge political party that was created, and in fact was benchmarking from Chinese Communist Party, fashioned on a powerful national political machine. And in 2013, there were 2 separate parties, URP and TNA. But in 2017, it was an absolute merger, and which easily won elections also out of that. But the issues of betrayal and mismanagement of internal democratic practices destroyed Jubilee. And I don't think UDA is ready to go that direction. And
is it the hallmarks also leading to
yes, and any entity, if you don't promote internal democracy, then you can't progress. So for UDA, drawing lessons from Jubilee and and other experiences, is gearing up to be more democratic and more open. So when you get down to election of branch leadership and national leadership in December, grassroots election, then we will be empowering our own members to exercise their vote in establishing leadership at the grassroots, and we'll be having, for the first time, officials and officers operating fully at the branches. So really, this is one step to promote internal democracy within the party. We don't have to wait up to 2027 so that we only conduct party primaries and nominations. We need an organized system, and where members can participate democratically in the day-to-day affairs of the party. So I think it's a step in the right direction, and you saw the president himself was at the party headquarters for close to 6 hours. So that was very, very, very intensive engagement in planning for the forthcoming UDA election. We've seen the Secretary General is calling on other parties to wind up, but that is a choice. It's a choice. If other parties can wind up to join so that it become a big movement, so be it. But all that will be a choice. And it's a negotiated process, and it's not going to be forced. But the most important thing is that as a party, we must promote internal democracy.
Indeed. And how does that really posture when you actually particularly intent in promoting democracy within the party, but you're asking other parties to also dissolve?
Yeah, we
so
are inviting.
In the spirit of consolidating and deepening democracy, how is that? If you want other parties to dissolve to UDA, how are you promoting
when you have
democracy?
a more consolidated outfit, a strong movement, there is nothing wrong with inviting other parties to join in, to wind up and join us. It's a democratic process. It's open, and
isn't that also?
If you look at the political history of our country, we've not had political parties growing, but rather political parties have been disintegrating. We saw Ford broke into Ford Kenya, Ford Asili, and disintegrated. We saw Orange, ODM, Orange itself, Orange movement breaking into ODM Kenya and ODM, which is now Wiper. You can trace the origin to the original.
Which is promoting democracy.
No, it's not promoting. That is disintegration. Political parties in a serious democracy are supposed to grow strong, and you see currently is funded by the taxpayers, because political parties should not only be created around general elections. Political parties must exist for posterity, and they must operate throughout. And what UDA is doing is setting the pace so that we can have a consistent political party that the people of Kenya can believe in, and those who choose to be members of this political arrangement. And at least for the first time, we consistently grow a democratic political entity that Kenyans can believe, and that which can transcend the different regimes. Yeah.
All right. Let's hear from Wakali Mulu.
Yeah, maybe before I comment on the...
They've not encroached on Wiper. Because the ODM have been complaining that they're encroaching on...
Wiper still remains very intact. But maybe before I come to the comment on the political parties issue, the issue of the National Dialogue Committee, I think just 2 quick comments. On the issues which have been pushed by the Kenyans through the memoranda, I think it would also be important as the technical team sorts out the issues, because I think there could be issues which are outside the mandate of the committee in terms of acting on. So it would also be important to also tease out those issues which are outside their mandate, so that then Kenyans can discuss, we need another team to look at them. Because, for example, I have in mind the issue of the additional counties. I think the Constitution is very clear that we need an independent commission to look at that. and I've seen some of my colleagues attempting to go through this committee to push for additional counties. So in such a situation then, I see more other things coming to be in that category of issues which are outside the mandate of the dialogue committee,
Indeed.
which are also important to Kenyans and might need to be taken forward.
Then so is that really cluttering? And,
no,
that means also the projection of these conversations is going to be longer.
No, I mean generally, if it's without outside their mandate, then it means that you just pack it and then make recommendation for somebody else to take it over, other than spending so much time on things which might not have a final word on. The other issue is the issue of commitment, the bar, that I like what the senator is saying, the senior counsel, that the two parties, and we have said many times, it is important that we see serious commitment from both sides. Otherwise, it will be a waste of time. We have seen attempts by senior members of this country, more so from the Kenya Kwanza side, who are making comments which suggest otherwise, that there might be, we start casting doubts in terms of seriousness from the Kenya Kwanza side. And I think it's important we allow this team to work without really external interference. Now, coming to the parties, there are some fundamental issues the we must consider, and this is informed by some facts. You see, even as we talk about UDA merging with all the other small parties, there are things we must consider. One of them is, for example, you look at our speaker, Moses Wetangula, who is the leader of Ford Kenya. He has invested so much time and resources in that party. And the question is it now fair for him to be told to follow the party and join UDA at this point, after having invested so much time in that party? The same with Musalia Mudavadi. And the same would have applied to my party leader if he was asked the same. The other important question is now, with the new political parties funding framework, because we have an act of parliament, which demands that a party will be funded based on the number of elected positions and the number of votes which have been cast for that party in different regions of the country. Now, when you look at the act and look at the requirements, by any leader who has a vision, by voting your party, you are losing that fund. You will not be able to access that fund, because there is no way, if Ford Kenya joins UDA, Ford Kenya will be saying we have this number of members of parliament, or we secured this number of votes. So on the basis of that, by joining, if you are a serious party, by joining UDA or joining another party, then you actually clear yourself out of that funding framework. And that is very important, because as you saw the other day.
Yeah, before we go even that, I want to take a short break, because I think you're talking of money, and also us, we need to pay money as well, or we paid money as we run our commercials.
Exactly.
We'll take a short break right now. When we circle back, of course, we continue with what he's saying. When the parties are actually folding, they'll be losing 0.03% of the exchequer that is meant to be going to the parties as well. Are they ready to do that? That is a probing question. We circle back with Mondongorwe.
KTN News. Get the whole story.